My name is Scott Kowalski. I'm an artist in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm back to answer a couple more questions from my raffle that I had a few months ago. I'm going to continue this. My nephew Wesley asked, what inspired me, oops, I grabbed the wrong piece. What inspired me to paint Dystopian number 5, Winter? So this piece right here, it was perfect timing. This piece actually sold last week and it's going to be picked up tomorrow at my studio. So Wesley, to answer your question, this is part of a series, so it's number 5. I would have to start back at the original, like number 1, because most of my series are an evolution or an experimentation of a previous piece. So one of the things that I was doing, I think at the time, I really love, and I still do, is like, I love minimalist, black and white, just abstract pieces. It's just, they're exciting to me. I love doing them, and I'm actually probably working on a couple right now. But specifically for this one, I remember putting the base coat of white on this piece, or the original number 1, and I'm like, I wonder what color, like a light wash, like kind of like a sunset, would look like. And I actually think the original one, the first one, was blue. So it was really like a little bit of an experimentation and a thought process of, I'm just gonna wash this color over here. And it was also last year, but I'm thinking it was pre-COVID. I'm pretty sure this was pre-COVID. I think this was after COVID. But it's like the political landscape, the state of the United States at the time, I think, really like influenced like this particular series, because it's like, I'm not a political painter. I don't do any of that stuff. I think I want to, but that's a completely like complete sidebar to what I'm doing. And so it was an experimentation. This got to a point where it was an experimentation on like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna add this, and then I wanted to add the snow because it was cold. I think it snowed last year in May 15th, so it could easily have applied. And I just wanted to, see how things would look and how stark and contrasty. I also think that this one, I was experimenting with the little pieces of black in the bottom of the painting. Your interpretation is your interpretation. So I definitely added that as another element to these pieces. You can go back on my site. I think I'm pretty sure it's 2020. All of them were in 2020. And you can see like the evolution of these pieces. I'm starting to organize them in year and then by series. So thank you, Wesley. I really appreciate the question. So I'm gonna also like kind of segue into the second question, which is inspiration. Like, a lot of people ask me like, what do I do when I hit roadblocks? What do I do when I'm not inspired? What gives me inspiration? And I mean, if you look at my work, it's a loose interpretation of reality, or a suggested reality. I read this one thing, it was called Abstract Art is the Suggestion of Reality. And so a lot of my pieces, look like a field of sunflowers. And this is this was inspired by another piece that I did, and I'm just gonna lay out because this one was fresh. I specifically remember what I was thinking of. So for some reason, I'm like, okay, I've got a fresh set of canvases, and which is always exciting to me, and I'm constantly trying to like think of what I was gonna do, and I've got like 5 of them, so this is what's happening. But for this specific one, I did a piece last year, a couple pieces last year that were like a snowstorm at midnight, where it was like heavy dots. It was heavy white dots on a bluish black background, or a green. You know, it was looking like it was a snowstorm. You're going into a snowstorm, and so I remember walking past this place, and I'm in my bathroom, and I'm like, oh, what if I did this? And so I thought about the orange dots before anything else. I'm like, all right, let's see what that happens. So the inspiration was stemmed from a previous painting, but evolved into something like this. There's no white dots on there. There's no, the other one was, you know, it was heavy on the top, and then almost barely any dots on the bottom. The dots were smaller, so on and so forth. So inspiration can come from previous paintings. Inspiration, like big time, it's pretty obvious that I simplify reality with what I do, and sometimes to the point of like, oh, that's just a painted canvas surrounded by a white stripe or a white frame, you know. It's a bluebird sky. I look up in the sky. It is a bluebird sky today. It is gorgeous out. So inspiration can come from so many things, but it really does come from my surroundings. There's quite a few of my pieces are like the city of Pittsburgh and how I feel about the city sometimes, and the chaos and the craziness. And you can see that in my paintings. But the one thing, I really labored on this, and I could talk forever, and I don't want to do that. But one of the things that I don't do when I became, you know, I would say like 5 years ago, I became really like interested and like going to make my dream of being a full-time artist a reality. You can't wait for inspiration. You gotta paint. And if you paint, inspiration will come. And since then, I have gotten into a routine. I've gotten into a habit. I've gotten into just determined dedication to paint every day. It doesn't matter if I just put one color down. It doesn't matter if I paint on 5 different canvases. For me, I have at least 5 or 6 canvases going at one time. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's how I paint. It's how I love to paint. I get excited when I can sit down and go, boom, work on this, boom, work on this, and so on and so forth. But currently, as of right now, I paint every day, multiple times a day, and that creates inspiration because I'm constantly thinking of the pieces that I'm working on, because it's part of my thought process every day, and it really, like, it's hard to explain. It's like, why does that excite me versus that doesn't excite me? A car sitting across the street does not excite me. I don't know why. It just doesn't. But the shadows from the billboard on the brick wall do. So that's inspiration. I think excitement also really helps with inspiration. I think that if you're excited, regardless of whether you're working on a specific thought, I think that it creates that stimulation that just keeps that circle going. So that's the short answer. I could really get in depth of what really excites me as far as inspiration and everything, but I just wanted to keep it general. So thank you. I hope you all have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. All right, later.